Okay, thank you. I'll try. I wonder why it was always in this tiny group. It's always these three that were always in these close spaces. But yeah, thank you for everyone for coming today, and thank you today and faculty for inviting me to speak. So a little bit about me. My name is Amarno Inai, as the presentation suggests, and I am a governance practitioner, but I'm also a visual artist, which is kind of how I got into governance actually, because I did a 3-week residential within the arts about artist development, but they were also giving a opportunity for young people to get onto arts organisations boards. So I did a masterclass in that, and I learned what board behaviour was needed, how to be an effective board member in these arts organisations. And so for the last 2 years, I joined an arts organisation called Punch Records, and in doing so from there, I enjoyed it so much that I went and tried to learn more about it. So I did another course under Carl George about learning to do be an effective board member then. I did that for 6 months. And so since then, I've joined as a school governor for Drury Court Academy under Core Education Trust. So that's a little bit about me. So I'm in charge of well-being, attendance, permanent exclusions, etc. So looking after our black kids, trying to keep them in school. So dangerous. Okay. So yeah, the title was bore out of a need to try and contribute to my community in some capacity with the knowledge I had. Even before I was doing, got the qualification to be a governance practitioner, I was in part of and involved with arts organisations in the formulation and also just being a part of it. But what I was finding an issue was that although they had great intentions, on a board level, there was too much conflict that was going on. Whether that be you had egoic members on the board who would like sideline and bully their way in the meetings. We would set an agenda and it would go on a complete tangent, and then the thing that we actually came to do, we never actually got to do, and it would go on for like months and months, and it was very frustrating because it's like, yo, I want to contribute, but the facilities and the culture is not letting me do that. Get me? So yeah. So when I joined the other boards I mentioned, it was very apparent with the disparity between the culture of behaviour within the boards and an effective board. So that's why I did this talk, to try and bring the knowledge here to talk about it. So 3 things I'm going to cover, being as we're running out of time, I'm constrained, is about defining what governance is, the role of your on the board, your role on the board, and the principles of governance within that board, and also try and cover quickly dysfunctional board behaviours that I've seen within black organisations, but they also go around with white organisations. That's something. It's just I'm just getting at them. Okay. Because white, you see me clearly at how they're going on even with our government right now. So yeah, so it's fine. Okay, so defining governance. So what is governance? Does anyone actually own or run an organisation? Like organization, right? Yeah. Yeah. So have you had? I was going to you, right, honourable gentlemen. Have you had any issues with your board, or how does your board work? Like,
no, because it could be dominated. No, because anybody who's a part of it is they look to work from an African perspective. We look at sort of certain things, certain values, and how we want people to conduct themselves. And so there's a way in which people are expected to act beforehand.
Because there's my experience, but I'm glad that other organisations are doing that. Okay. So governance is defined by the UK Corporate Governance Code, which is what the codes that white people use anyway, or just people who run corporate organisations. Governance is defining which systems are directed and controlled. So I'm sure that we can bring that down a bit. So the main points are the systems. And the thing about systems is whether individuals in your organisation fail to meet the needs, as long as the system is in place so that whether someone's dysfunctional, the company can still go forward and move on. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. And it's how it's directed and controlled, I guess. So governance is more of, it's not about just compliance, it's about the principles of it. The principles are there to help you as an organization so that you can move forward and help your people. And it's not a department, so it's an integral part of your organization. Everyone within your organization should know how you are governing that organization or that company. And it's not an option, because anything that you do requires strategic planning and strategic vision and execution. So the principles and the roles of the board. So the roles for people who are on the board is to support the chief executive, ensure accountability. So when you have the CEO, I guess, when they make decisions, or when you guys make decisions collectively, you should be able to hold each other accountable and serve as critical friends in that basis. Establish and monitor policy. So policy will basically include like your behavioural policy, things of your terms of reference, stuff like that. And you're supposed to select and support your CEO. So CEO is the kind of runs the company on a day-to-day basis. And ensure compliance with the law. And then ensure compliance with the Companies Act 2006. So in the Companies Act, it's just basically talking about things like your duty of care, not accepting bribes in layman's terms, and being an independent member within that organisation, and not being, well, I guess not emotional. What I was trying to get to. And also, you're supposed to develop the strategy of your organisation. So instead of being operational and just getting on with the day-to-day things and getting bogged down with the operational side of running the organisation, you've got to think even 5 or 10 years ahead, but just maintain your overall bigger picture, which is sometimes I feel like we lack, or we're working on it. So, and then maintain fiscal oversight. So that means make sure that the money's in, that you're monitoring how the money's being spent, how much money's coming out, and is it the funds being used in its appropriate manner. So there's, on top of that, there's 3 key areas. So I call it opportunity anyway. In that, there's 3 key areas, I said. So you have resources, competency, and execution. So in the resources refers to your term of references, the information and documentation of your organization. So what that kind of means is, in terms of reference, it's like what your company has set out to do, and then the information is like the documentation, where your policies, your procedures, etc. And also, it's important to understand in those documents or your resources what your role is on the board, so you know what's within your powers and what you're not supposed to be doing. And then competency refers to on your board's level, its ability. So that can mean it refers to the skill set of your organization. So that can mean if you are running, let's say, for an arts organization, the legal side, people who understand accounting, people who understand law, and it can also mean just industry-specific knowledge as well. So for me, as an arts organization, I want somebody, because being on Punch, we do UK and international tours. We want somebody who understands the visa process and how to get people in. And then also within the competency, it should be diverse. So obviously, since we're running Black organisations, although the racial side is kind of covered, it doesn't mean that you're not be diverse in thought also, because sometimes it can be that you develop a culture where we're all thinking the same thing, but not actually getting new ideas in, whether that be people with age, people with gender, if that makes sense. And then the last thing I was talking about is execution. So in those two key areas, there's no point in having those secure if you don't execute on what you strategize or the competency. So in the execution, you should be able to, when you set a strategy, that you monitor what you decided to do, and make sure that you keep referring back so that you don't veer off into something that you didn't actually intend to do. So I also want to talk about the roles and responsibilities of the chair briefly. I don't know how much time we've got there. 5 minutes. So
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
7 minutes.
So roles of the chair. So as a chair, your task is to make sure that you facilitate the needs of your board. So you should be able to, when people are discussing and having debate, you should be able to facilitate that and not let an individual or individuals bully, or I should say dominate the space, and make sure that everyone is heard within the board or in the meetings. Also, your job is to set the agenda, ensure that information is given in a timely manner, so that it's enough time for people to muse over complex information, and they can come back when they come to the board, deliver their questions or comments. So, I'm going to talk quickly about bad board behaviour. So, what I'm using is a concept by the Governance Forum, and in that they have a myriad of animals that serve as archetypes of dysfunctional board behaviour. But I've identified a few that was prevalent in the kind of boards that I've been on so far. So we got one that's speaker. So what's your views on that? What kind of things are you thinking that will symbolise?
Pride.
Pardon? Pride. Yeah? Anything else? Ego.
Flashy.
Flashy.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So the peacock basically represents, like you said, ego, flashy people who are talking large, that they do all of this on the boards, and that without me, you guys would be nothing, but actually ain't to be nothing. You know what I mean? Just talking the large, talking hardest, I guess. So yeah. And then another board behavior is grab. So in the grab, it's comes under the category of conflict. So in that, it's a behavioural archetype in which you have members of your organisation who are those supposed to serve as critical friends. They are actually, in fact, very combative with the chair or other members of your board. So anytime you make a point, or if you're trying to set a strategy, they nitpick. So yeah. Then you got a busy bee. So under that, it's under the category of operational. So as board members, we're not supposed to be operational, we're supposed to be thinking strategic, you know what I'm saying? So when you have members, although they mean well, if they're just bogged down with trying to implement it, that's the job for SLT or your workers, then it's not the job for you, you know what I mean? So then you have the snail. So the snail represents the passive members of the organisation. Now I know we've all been on organisations where we've had quite passive people on there. So the snail kind of represents people who are slow to read the board documents or slow to answer, not in a way that they're trying to take time to muse and think, but rather just like they're just waking up halfway through the meeting, not knowing what's going on, or they wouldn't read the information, but then they're coming and got all the questions, but everyone's already answered them in the documents. You know what I mean? And then the final one, big blue white shot. Clean. But it's kind of similar to the crab. It comes under conflict as well, the category of conflict. But that kind of archetype is under the idea that they are very confrontational and aggressive with the board and the chair. So they will bully their point, they will make sure that they're the voice and the loudest voice that is heard, and they will marginalise other members within the board or even with the chair. Sometimes the chair can be that person, and it can make it extremely difficult to work in that environment, and then it just turns it off. But so I know I kind of talked a bit negatively, but there are two animals that I want people to identify with and have been used within the governance framework as animals to look up to or to aspire to be. So the lion is forward thinking, it's a leader, it's level headed, I guess, and it leads with authority, but it doesn't dominate, if that makes sense. So it just leads by example. Then you have the eagle. So the eagle is high flying. There's no other bird that reaches higher than the eagle. It's the one that flies close to the sun and can see the farthest on the planet. So if you put that into organizational terms, you should be forward thinking and have great foresight, but also be very independent as well. Be independent and not fall under groupthink. So be like pigeons there. That makes sense. So if you combine it to be like, I guess, combine it to be like the griffin, I guess. That's what we're trying to aspire to be. Okay. Back to you. Yeah, I think, yeah. So, recommendations really. So, for those of you that already have an organization, it will be good now that we're coming to the end of the year to do a review of your vision and mission. Are you actually doing what you set out to do as an organization, or have you been bogged down with the operational side of things? You should also try and do a skills matrix where you go with each individual member of your organization and actually take an account or stock of what they do. And also do a board appraisal. So you do one where you evaluate the entire board and say, are we being effective? Are we doing what we said we set out to do? So yeah. And then I just threw this in here. These are 4 books that I've currently been reading for the past 2 years that kind of get you into that strategic mind. Now I know that they're kind of European centered, but I'm sure that with our understanding of our Afrocentricity, we can take those principles and apply them to our African values, as Shafra was explaining in his presentation, and use them to make our boards and our organizations better. So this one comes to 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. This one is also by Robert Greene, which is called 3 Strategies of War. That one's quite good for boards actually, because it gets you thinking that strategic mind. This one's called The Dictator's Handbook, as you can see, and this was about creating partnerships or influencing particular individuals or organizations that can aid you. So that they call it the keys. So that's what governments do. So this is why they sideline us a lot also. And then speaking of sovereignty, which is about the grand chessboard and about his ideas of his plans on agendas for young people. So yeah.
Thank you.